Welcome to the Best Florida Family Law Podcast. My name is Attorney Jonathan Jacobs from the Jacobs Law Firm. The topic of today's discussion for this episode is family time sharing. By family time sharing, I do not just mean with your family. I mean that the holidays are coming up. What better time to learn a little bit about what happens when the holidays are here and there is a one-parent household in each side? You have to divide your time sharing per a court order, or you are in the process of drafting a parenting plan. Perhaps you are about to attend a mediation or a family law trial in which one will be settled upon or made for you by the court. When it comes to holiday time sharing, any holiday is up for grabs. If a holiday is important to you and not so much to the other side, it may be of some value to make that known. It may be of some value to indicate that your religious preference or your cultural preference mandates that a holiday to you, such as Halloween, Easter, Yom Kippur, Eid, some sort of a holiday, is important to you. Not just important, but it is worth celebrating, and you want to have your kids on that particular occasion. For purposes of a generic parenting plan, we typically focus on the major holidays. Even at a mediation that lasts for 8 hours, that might not be enough time to plan out the rest of your minor child's life with both parents. Of course, in the aftermath of a case concluding, it would be helpful if you could co parent. It would be helpful if both parents had the ability to talk to each other meaningfully, plan together, not have rivalries, not have resentment, not have he said, she said, how could they? But this is the real world and this is real life. You've split, you've broken up, you're essentially, other than co parents for a short period of time, essentially strangers. And our instinct is to be with our children at all times. And anybody else that wants to be with them other than us, that can feel hurtful. It's a natural human reaction. Now, suppose that you are planning for the holidays. Which holidays do we want to focus on now that it is November 5th? How about Thanksgiving? Let's start there. The typical and traditional way in which holiday time sharing is resolved for Thanksgiving is that mom or dad will receive Thanksgiving in even numbered years. Then the other party will receive the children for Thanksgiving in odd numbered years. For instance, if I were divorced or separated, for this year, dad would have Thanksgiving during even numbered years. And next week, my former partner or spouse would have Thanksgiving for 2025, an odd numbered year. There's another way to skin this cat, so to speak, and that is that you might want to continue your regular time sharing so that each of you can enjoy some of that Thanksgiving vacation your kid has or children have. And then you can just simply have a half day on Thanksgiving for one, half day for the other, so that your kids can attend two different family parties. Or rather than dividing the whole week, one gets the whole week one year, the other has the whole week the next year. A third option is that during even numbered years, you could have, or I could have, Thanksgiving during even numbered years. My former spouse or partner could have Thanksgiving just the day during odd numbered years. Winter break is a little bit of a different animal, and that is because winter break can be as much as 14 or 17 days long. It could even be a little shorter depending on the school calendar. But winter break essentially supposes a week of vacation, then holiday week, and then a week after that. So it could be realistically 2 to 3 weeks, or 2.5 weeks approximately. That being the case, maybe both of you want to have some sort of Christmas celebration. I celebrate Hanukkah, my wife celebrates Christmas. We somehow managed to do it both. I'm not a huge celebrant, but I do like the idea of the pageantry. I like the idea of having a Christmas tree that I call my Hanukkah bush with a little bit of extra decoration so that we're all represented. But of course, if I were living in a distinctively separate household, if I were divorced or I were separated from somebody and we had to do this the right way, what exactly would that be? Well, again, let's take some potential options and considerations into play. One is if there are 14 days approximately of vacation, Maybe it's just a 7 and a 7. And maybe if the calendar allows, the midpoint is Christmas Day. There can be an exchange. So every even numbered year, for example, I would have Christmas vacation, or what we call winter break in the school system for public schools. I would have Christmas vacation until Christmas Day at, let's say, noon or 2 o'clock. So the kids are up, they're awake, they've had some food, we've opened the gifts. And then the following year, the schedule would flip, and my former wife or partner would have Christmas vacation until Christmas Day at 12 or 2 o'clock. There are so many ways to do this. And if you are not a religious person and the other person is, that might be an area where you can compromise, where your former partner or spouse can have that extra time for the holiday itself to help lubricate the rest of your agreement. Because you might love Halloween, it's not so much important to the other side. So then what can you do? You take Halloween, they take Christmas, just the day, and then maybe you each enjoy that vacation. Now, one other thing that is worth discussing. Whether or not summertime is technically considered vacation, a majority of people do the regular time sharing for the summer, with one exception. That exception is many people will want a 2-week vacation period during the summer. It is only fair that if I have 2 weeks, my former wife or former spouse will also have 2 weeks. But the rub lies in this. If you do not plan this 30 or 45 days ahead of time, and you spring it upon the other side, do you really expect them to consent to it or say yes? This is not a situation when you're divorced or separated. This is not a situation for the element of surprise. Careful planning is important for purposes of fairness, to avoid suspicion, to provide itineraries and phone numbers, make sure that everybody's vaccinated if that's the way you go, that there are plane tickets, that everything's paid for, that everybody recognizes and understands. We all have schedules. We all have busy lives. To inconvenience somebody and surprise them and shock them when they are your co-parent is probably not the best idea. And while it may seem frightening, the fact that somebody could say, no, absolutely not, I'm not allowing that, it's better to ask for permission than forgiveness in most cases when it comes to a parenting plan, because you do not want the other party to do the same thing to you. I hope this has been helpful. This has been another episode of the Best Florida Family Law Podcast. Nothing stated here today constitutes legal advice. It does not create an attorney-client relationship. Our podcast is strictly for informational purposes, as my goal, as always, is for some of you, if not all of you, who have ever been interested in this subject to learn something about family law, how it is orchestrated, how it is done, so that you can be better educated and have a more, shall we say, 30,000-foot perspective on how all of this works with the legal system. Happy holidays, everyone.